And howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the show, to the Snort Cast. My name is Nguyen, and I'm the host and creator of the Snort Cast. And if you don't know what the Snort Cast is, it's an interview show interviewing funny people all around the world, talking about their why and why they do what they do and how they apply their comedy. Now, before we begin, you always know I ask you this question, and the question is, where are you watching the show from? Where are you snorting from? Please pop in the country if you're watching live, hashtag live or hashtag replay. I want to know where this show is reaching you so that I keep doing this show. So thank you so much for joining us. We are running a bit late, and Luke will tell you what happened. There's been so many of you patiently waiting because he is a star. But before I talk about him, I do want to, acknowledge where the show is coming from. So I am Australian, and I acknowledge on the land that I stand on, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, and pay my respects to the elders past and present. Sovereignty has never been ceded. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Now, I pay it forward every month, and this month I am paying forward for Climate for Change. We have just raised over $110,000 just from last week. We just need to raise another I'm doing my maths, $80,000. So if you would like to support, click on the link. I'm personally raising $1,000 to help Climate for Change. And if you would like to support my Patreon, I do have a Patreon profile where you can support my work. I have 9 donors who support my work every month. If you would like to be one of those who keep the snorting alive, please click on the link, patreon.com/realDinoWin. And we are on all social media platforms. So if you put the hashtag, the SnortCast, or at the SnortCast, you'll see all the interviews on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. However, we don't do the interviews on Instagram because I don't have time to do that. But we are live on Facebook and on LinkedIn right now. And please tell us where you're watching from. Please let us know which country you're watching from so I can gauge the time difference. And, being a snorter, it's been so wonderful that you have embraced this show during a time when Melbourne, where I'm from, has been in a lockdown and pandemic. And, that was one of the reasons why I created this show, was to talk to my fellow workmates, colleagues who had our shows cancelled just after COVID was announced really, and Melbourne Comedy Festival was cancelled. And this guy's show was cancelled also. His name is Luke McGregor. He is a writer, actor, and one of Australia's favourite comedians. He's been working for a really long time in comedy, since 2007, and before in the Raw Comedy Competition. He is also the co-creator and co-writer and star of the smash hit ABC show Rosehaven with his best buddy, Celia Pacquola. And last week, it was actually Luke's birthday. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, she made him a lasagna cake. Pretty amazing. And he's going to be talking about his work, and I'm going to show you his work so you can see how he applies and how his comedy works. I'll just pop that on, and let's have a watch.
Good morning. Just kidding. Thank you for having me. This is my first gala. I've never done this before, and I really don't want to mess it up. So if that's okay, I'm just going to have one last check of my notes, and then we're going to get started. There's no notes. It just says, believe in yourself. I just sort of tell a story from my childhood just because I'm really glad that it happened to me once. I am from Tasmania. Woo! The mayor comes to every gig. I grew up in Tassie, but I grew up in kind of a rough area in Tassie. It wasn't that rough, but there were a lot of people on skateboards. It was very scary. And I went to the only school in the area that had a school uniform, and they used to make us wear it until we got home. And in primary school, I used to walk home. So back then, I used to have to wear walk home wearing a bright yellow shirt. I had a blazer that was the same colour as my hair. Had a massive red afro. I don't know why I didn't cut it. I had Coke bottle glasses, and I thought I'd get braces to complete the look.
And to complete the look, Luke is here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. That was painful to watch. I didn't think I'd have to sit there watching my own stand-up. It was very confronting. But thanks for having me.
Well, you're lucky because I used to have the comedian watch their show live, and everyone's reaction was like,
"Oh yeah, I died. I just duck out of the camera." You should do it. You should do it for the next person you have on the show. You should edit it so you cut out all the laughs and just make them watch it without laughs, and then say, just don't mention it. See if they bring it up. And I apologise profusely to you off camera, but now on camera, I'd also like to apologise profusely for keeping you waiting, and also sorry to everyone who's watching for keeping you waiting. It's my fault. I forgot. I was playing Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. On Nintendo Switch, sponsored by, and I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
No, this is fun. This is great. This is great stuff for me. So do not worry that people are coming in and watching, and they'll have questions for you. So, thanks for taking the time and joining the show. And for someone who doesn't know who you are, Luke, can you tell us who you are in 4 sentences?
Philanthropist, sex professional. I was trying to say something like really. I should have said really good at sex. Anyway, let me start again. Sex. I'm a comedian. I have an economics degree that I don't use very often because I thought I wanted to go into public service when I was younger. I thought my dream was to be a professional cricketer, but that didn't work out because I was terrible at cricket. I was really terrible, and that's no matter how much of a positive attitude you have, if you're just terrible at the sport, it's very hard to get selected for the team. What's the 4th one? Oh, and I buy too many Transformers because I used to love them when I was a kid, but I obviously I couldn't afford them, and my family couldn't afford them. So now that I'm older, I tend to buy them. Yeah, I just buy too many, and then they're all in the cupboard now because they grow dust, and I didn't realize that was a big deal. But
Right.
I regret so that's and that's exactly the same. That's the same way I open dates as well. Everything I just said then is exactly the same way as I open dates. Even the backtracking. It's all pre-written. It's all. It's a carefully constructed intro.
I think people just heard sex in the second point, so we'll flow from. So that's who you are, and that's how you introduce yourself in dates. If you had to write a memoir of your life, what would the title of your book be called?
Sorry, or just like ugh. It's like UGHHH ... or maybe I think that went okay.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, not sure. It kind of depends on Tons depends on when I write it. If I wrote it now, I'd probably be like, I hope it works out okay. And if I wrote it later, hopefully, my dream is to be in a nursing home just like really, and just lying in bed really smug, like, yeah, I did everything I wanted to do. That'd be the dream. But yeah, not to be TBC, to be confirmed.
Yeah, that's a good title too, to be confirmed.
Shocker.
I just want to say thank you to all the people who are joining the show on LinkedIn and Facebook. We've got John Paul from Melbourne. Thanks for joining. We've got New South Wales. We've got John Paul's Lounge Room. We've got Melbourne. We've got Bendigo.
I specifically said that John Paul could watch this, but not if he was in his lounge room. So you better move to another room, mate, or I'm out.
That's it. We've got
straight for kitchen.
We've got Egypt, Netherlands. We've got.
I should tell you, I do have a lot of fans in Egypt. They're very big in Egypt. I think one of the pyramids has my face on it, so it's newly constructed. Cost me a lot of money.
Yes, Emma from Daija Wurrongland. Thank you for joining. Emma was actually the one waiting for you to come on, so she's a fan.
Oh, I think I've seen Emma.
Maybe.
I've seen her. Emma looks familiar. I think maybe I've seen her pop up on a social at some point.
Might be, yeah.
Emma, thank you for joining.
We've got India. We've got Malaysia. Thanks for joining the show. We've got Kenya. There you go.
Hi, Kenya.
All parts of the world, and we've got and Emma said, "Oh my God, yes, forgiven." So.
Thanks, Emma. Thank you for watching Rosehaven. Much appreciated.
Can I ask, what was your, when did you, well, blah, 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 because I'm now not concentrating. What was your first memory of comedy as a child?
I used to get bullied a lot. I had red hair and I had braces. And my teeth were my jaw wasn't, I couldn't close properly, so my mouth was always, it's about here, about like that. It was always sort of open a little. Which is bad for bugs flying around. And I used to think if I could make the bullies laugh, they wouldn't hit me as hard. So I learned to be funny. It felt like out of a defense mechanism, to be honest. I just felt like it was like, and it felt like something I could do when I didn't really know what I could do. Because, and I don't know if you had this at your school, but we used to have it when we were picking sports teams. Everyone would line up in a row and the kids would go, I'll have Daniel, Sarah, and if you were the last picked, it was awful, and I was often the last picked. So being funny felt like my thing that I could do to add value to an interaction.
Well, yeah, I found that the comedians I've interviewed, majority of them have said, yeah, it was a way to be visible and to fight off the bullies. And it was like a superpower. The comedy, kind of like to like kind of like create a defense filter wall where they couldn't penetrate you, but also be cool, because everyone wants to be funny.
I remember once there was a bully who was so there's this bully, I think his name was Ryan. Hello, if you're watching. And he would always throw me off cliffs. So there was this slope at the school. I don't know if it was steep enough. I think it was steep enough to be classified as a cliff, and he would always throw me off it. And then I'd roll down the cliff, and there'd be these stinkweeds, and I'd smell. It was not a good day. But he'd have to carry me to the cliff. So if I could make him laugh before he got to the edge, I could not be thrown off the cliff. So it was a real, it was a good testing ground. And I do encourage anyone who wants to do comedy, get someone to carry you to a cliff face and say, if I could make you laugh, don't drop me off. And it's a great motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with if you're learning guitar or something, you just have someone carry you to a cliff. And then just try and whack out the solo to Jump by Van Halen before they throw you off. It's good. It's good. So I do it for all my I think it's what the master classes teach as well.
That's it. That's before you even jump on stage. That's what happens. You have someone
exactly, yeah. And then you don't. And then that's why if you're on a high up stage, you don't fear it either, because you're used to falling off cliffs. You don't. You know how to land on your shoulder and then go into a roll.
Yeah, all that training worked out. All that training worked out for your stand-up career. And
big shout out. Thank you, Ryan, if you're watching.
Thanks, Ryan. Who inspires your comedy now? Like, you've been, doing comedy since 2007. You spoke about it in Tassie, and that's where, another comedy legend, Hannah Gatsby, is also from. She talks about Tassie a fair bit. Who inspires?
You do, Dinah. You're the reason I keep going. I really appreciate it. And that plant you've got in the background, it's lovely placed. And what's that? Does that say let's? I thought it said let's struggle. It says let's snuggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It shows you how my brain works. Does it say let's struggle? I can relate to that. Yeah, I someone I loved growing up was Bill Murray. As I got older, I really loved Amy Poehler in Parks and Rec. I just thought she was so because a lot of comedy is sort of, I know for me anyway, it's self-deprecating, can be a bit negative, whereas she's just like a bottle of joy.
Yeah.
But still funny. And Dave Chappelle, I don't agree with everything he says politically, but he's just so relaxed and so magnetic. I love him. There was a period there where I was so anxious to get on stage, I used to get panic attacks, and I would watch Dave Chappelle stand up to calm myself down because he was so relaxed. It made me feel like, oh, that's right, comedy's fun. So he's still to this day probably the person I like watching the most.
And probably he's high most of the time he does stand up as well.
I didn't that does probably help as well. So there's definitely an element that I haven't tried yet. I've gotten high. I've been high on stage before, and it was awful. It was at Falls Festival, and I had a lemon slice, and I should have known. My friend Milo brought a lemon slice. I'm like, of course it's going to be spicy. He doesn't normally just bake. And I was high on stage, and I just stared at the light for 20 seconds. So I don't know how Dave does it. If he does get high, he's a lot better at it than I was, because I stared at the light for about 20 seconds and then forgot what my first joke was. But I did feel very relaxed. So
yeah. And look, to be honest, that audience was probably relaxed with you too. So like you weren't the only one.
Wasn't anyone who had lemon slice that day.
I want to ask our audience, who are your favorite comedy artists? Because it doesn't have to be stand-up. It could be an actor. And you
could be us. If you just want to say Luke and Diana, if you just want to say us too, that's fine too. Don't have to feel like you have to pick a celebrity. Just pick us.
You spoke about Bill Murray, and I've been stalking your Instagram. You have a fascination with Ghostbusters. Is that?
Oh yeah. I think so. Yeah, he probably was just linked inseparably to this thing that when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, I used to I don't know. My parents just tended to get me Ghostbusters toys, and so I've just become obsessed with it. And it was just such a fun job to me to. I liked the idea that as a kid, because things were so scary and monsters were scary and ghosts were scary, that there was this gun you could get and point it at scary things and trap them and take them away. And so that as a kid was very empowering to me, that that science could solve this ghost issue I had. And at the time I was really scared of Stephen King's It, the clown.
Yes.
That eats children. And as a child I was very scared of being eaten by a clown. I can't think of a worse way to go than being eaten by a clown. It'd have to be in the top 10 surely of worst ways to die. Like there'd be people in heaven or wherever we go at the end who were eaten by clowns going, listen, until you've been eaten by a clown, I don't want to hear it. Okay. So Ghostbusters was just really appealing to me. I just like the idea that you could zap these things you were scared of.
Yeah. And I loved him in Zombieland. I don't know if you've seen that with Emma.
Yep. I love Zombieland.
And he's
pretty good in most films. I hope I don't meet him one day and he's just a real asshole, because that would really ruin a lot of films for me. So I almost think maybe if I did get a chance to meet him, I'd avoid him just so he doesn't ruin any preconceived notions I have.
Is that a dream of yours to meet him? Is he on your list to meet?
Yeah, I would like to meet him. I think if I had to choose someone to meet, I'd probably be like, I really don't like him, but I'd be fascinated to meet Donald Trump just over dinner, just to see, because I've never met someone who manages to have so many different views than I have in one person, and it'd just be fascinating to talk to him and just find out, what makes him tick. Like, I don't know why so many things. How did masks become political? How did just all these things? And I'm just like, I just don't understand. I'd love to know. He'd probably be one. I'd be like, I'd just love to pick his brain to see what makes that guy tick.
Yeah. Our audience have said they love Hannah Gaspy, Chelsea Handler, Robin Williams. He made the clown safe.
He did, yeah. Hannah's amazing, because especially being from Tassie, I tend to hitch my wagon at her, but yeah, she's brilliant. Yeah. Lost in Translation. Oh, God, that was such a good film.
Yes.
I love that movie so much.
And Emma also said, afraid of clowns, became a comedian. So I think that's more to you. I don't know.
If you can't beat them, join them. That's true, Emma. I don't put in any, but I don't eat children. That's the difference between me and Pennywise. Unless things became really desperate, I never would. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Unless one was really annoying me, then I'd, you'd eat it, obviously. But you'd have to be I'd have to be on a really long haul flight, and we don't even fly anymore. So
we don't.
They're safe for now.
Yes. But one of the shows I was really into your work was, we talked about sex before, but lukewarm sex. It was on the ABC, wasn't it? And
yeah, for anyone who hadn't seen it, I did a documentary about how to get better at sex. So if you want to have sex, just I'm single at the moment. Just leave a message with Dana and pass it on to me.
It's in the comments. I was just in the comments.
Put in the comments. Yeah, let's get it. Let's do it for charity. I'll pay you. It was it was all about how to get better at sex, because I was so nervous about sex. I'd spent my whole life being so scared of it. I was a virgin until I was 25, and then I didn't have sex again until I was 30. I had a free weekend. I thought, why not?
Radical.
Yeah, I just was scared of it. I was really scared of sex. So whenever I get to the point where I might be able to have sex with someone, I couldn't get it up. I was terrified. And so I did a documentary about, I don't know, just to basically see if anyone else was scared of it as I was, and talk to people who weren't scared of it, and sort of get an idea of how they sort of think. And I was so uncomfortable talking about it. So and my parents are very uncomfortable talking about it, and their parents are very uncomfortable talking about it, and I wanted to break that cycle. So
yeah,
went to a nude colony.
Yeah, it was really great. There was that really great sex education sketch that you did with a lot of comedians about STIs.
Oh yeah, STIs, yeah.
Yeah, it was so great, and I was like, this is a great way for teenagers to learn about safe sex.
Yeah, it's that was the premise was basically that my housemates were all STIs, and I was living with all of them, and the effects they had. But yeah, that was fun. It was hard. It was hard though, writing to comedians and saying, "Listen, I've written a sketch. I was wondering if you would like to play chlamydia," and that was just emails I had to send out to people. Yeah, it was tricky. But people were very nice about it, and even stole the shirts afterwards, because everyone had a shirt with an STI on it. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun to film.
That's great. And you've moved on to something even bigger with one of your best buddies, with Celia. She was on last week. You're the co-creator, actor, and co-writer of Rosehaven.
Yes.
And happy birthday. Happy birthday. She did mention that she was going to surprise you, and I love those bum masks you had.
Oh, bum masks. Yeah. I think I'll grab it if you like. It stinks. Not a bum, but it does smell. Oh my God.
Everything up. Oh God! Wait, watch this, everyone. It's amazing. It's an alien. Oh God!
I don't think they use very high quality plastic. It really does smell quite poisonous. I'd love to visit the factory that makes the bum masks. I would just seeing their product line, seeing the bum masks come off the factory conveyor belt.
Yeah, I love it.
It'd be the Q&A testers who put them on and walk around for a little while. It'd just be amazing.
Yeah. How is it like? Because you she did all that stuff for your birthday, but you've worked with her so intimately with your show Rosehaven. Like, how is that to collaborate with someone that you actually like, or maybe you don't like, and work with for seasons?
It was scary at first because Seals and I didn't really know each other that well initially. We were stand-up, so we knew of each other, and Seals was at the time, and still is obviously, but she was someone I looked up to during stand-up. And so I sort of knew of her, but I didn't know her. And then we did Utopia together, which is a show on ABC. And then, we got money to sort of make it before the friendship had really cemented. So there was a bit of nerves, I think, between both of us that, we'd have a falling out after we were contracted to make something. Luckily, we ended up sort of slowly becoming best friends. So we got really lucky. We even did things like we made a video of each other when we were in a happy place that we'd put on in an emergency. If we had this massive falling out, we'd put on this video of both of us in a happy place together. I've since lost it, but it's been great. But we got lucky. Yeah, I imagine must be people who've had the same similar story but haven't worked out. We were really lucky.
Now it's so wonderful to see that you've got this longevity, but also this co-working friendship, and professional friendship to do what you do. Because it's nice to have someone who's on that journey with you. I have to say, in comedy.
Yeah, and she's always had a massive crush on me, so that's been hard to navigate. It's not true, but it's really fun. It makes everything a little easier, knowing that she's there with me.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, we were talking before offline, before we came on, but, we were already touching about this pandemic and you had your show cancelled because of COVID-19. How have you had to find lightness during this period as a comedian?
I do play a lot of video games to de-stress. I don't know. I'm still looking for it, to be honest. I feel lucky that I've got work writing, so I do have something I can be doing, during this time. But it goes in waves. Today I felt pretty depressed. Just sad, just wanted to lie in bed and just stare up at the ceiling, and then other days it's sort of weird. Like I go between guilt of feeling bad, but then feeling guilty that I feel bad because I know there are other people in tougher situations, and then it sort of goes. So then I feel like my problems aren't important, but they're still making me feel sad. So they are important to me, but at the same time, if I'm in a country where the case numbers are low, and where our healthcare system has we get free tests, and so I don't know. It's weird. It's this sort of guilt and sadness and depression, and sometimes bursts of feeling grateful that I just get to play video games all day, but then fear that I'm not going to have enough money in the future. And I don't know. And sleep is hard to come by. I find it's hard. I find it hard to go to sleep at night. Yeah. Possibly because I'm playing Nintendo Switch right up until the second I turn the lights off. But I like to think it's the pandemic as well.
Yes. No, I have to say, I've found sleep really hard the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if it's because the full moon came out last week and I'm meant to be howling at it. But yeah, I worked out today twice. I went swimming for 45 minutes and had a fitness trainer work me for an hour.
Wow. I could tell you were looking buff today. You were looking fit.
Thank you. I paid some money for that. It's a bit wobbly at the moment.
It's just because you're not flexed. As soon as you did it, to take up the whole screen. It's what's your sleep position? Like, are you side sleeper, stomach, back? What do you do? I've been doing. I don't know if I can show you this one. I'll have to get on the chair maybe. I've been doing this one where I sleep on the side.
Yes.
And then the hands go between the legs like this.
Okay.
So I'm sleeping. So I'm keeping my hands warm. So my hands go between my thighs, and it's a strange position, but I find it very comforting and comfy for some reason. Also, if you're with a partner, do you like to be separated once you go to sleep, or do you stay together? And I'm asking someone who's got a let's snuggle in the background. Because I like to separate. I like to be holding each other, and then when it comes to go to sleep, I go, well, good night, and then drift away. Huh?
Yeah, I'm unfortunately a big spooner as well. So if they turn away, I'm like, well, that's my turn then.
My time to shine. Thanks for the opening. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my past lovers have always missed me, because when they turned, no one was there. So
Yeah, it's a good tactic.
I don't know how to segue into this, but we talked about diversity of sleeping. Let's talk about diversity of comedy, because you've been doing comedy since 2007.
That is the worst segue ever. I mean, I'll come with you, but that was a long bow.
I'm trying.
We were talking about D words. Yeah, sorry, diversity of comedy.
That's fine.
I mean,
it worked. It was a good segue into.
It's true. I apologise. It was great. One of the best.
Yeah. Thank you. From doing comedy from 2007 to be where you are now, and doing raw comedy, which is what most comedians do. How have you seen comedy change in the last, 13 years from when you first started? Yeah.
I think we're becoming a little bit more aware of problems that have always existed. Especially because, like, at least in my experience as a white male, there's been a lot of problems that just growing up I just wasn't aware of. They were always there, whether it's a structural inequality or a sexism, but I'm not affected by them. And then I've just noticed that slowly in the industry, I don't know, I guess like a lot of places in society nowadays, is that people are becoming a little bit more aware and maybe a bit more. It's forcing us to be a bit more considerate, a bit more clever with the comedy. I feel like it's the good thing that's happening, I think, is there's a shift towards jokes that are more universal, or not universal, but just I feel like we're finding what's really funny as opposed to what's funny as long as you're in a privileged spot. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I'm saying, because I do think like when Ricky Gervais brags about how much money because he's got, that's funny. I find it really funny, but also I don't know. I think it's going in a good place. I think it's going in a good direction. I think it's it's becoming like Hannah Gadsby and Nanette. It's a great example of how a stand-up show can be more than just like, it can be healing as well as funny, and it can be it's a comedy can be allowed to be sad and still be funny, or I don't know. It feels like it's getting more, and I like the direction it's heading, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I always get nervous talking about that stuff because I don't quite know what my opinion is. I also don't feel like, because I've sort of grown up with privilege, I don't know if I should have one, or but I feel like it's going in a better direction. I hope it is anyway.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's great that you articulate that, because talking about diversity is something that isn't spoken about. So, but as you know, with stand-up, when you practice it enough, it just kind of you start to program it and start to understand what it even means, the joke. So I'm just, I guess I'm trying to say is, diversity, because look at me, I'm definitely a diverse woman.
Well, I'm a redhead. I am also from a minority. No, sorry. Yes, no. Yes, you apologize.
Yeah. And also, like, I wore glasses, so we're on the same page there. Like, as a kid, I wore really thick glasses as well.
Well, we've experienced the exact same level of inequality. I'm exactly on par with you. So don't bore me with your struggles, because I know.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, no, Dana, you were saying.
But I think it's really important that I think it's really important to articulate that you don't have. You're still trying to figure out how to articulate it, but also that that comedy is moving, I think, really forward for people. Like, we talked about self-deprecating, and I think there's more moving to a more of a humanity, universal stories than just like, this is me, this is what happened. I feel like it's moving forward, and I hear that from you.
does it feel from your perspective that it is slowly turning to better?
Yeah, well, my favorite three comedians are Ali Wong, because she represents my culture, and I do love Dave Chappelle, like you said before, like just this pace, like he just lets the audience come in, like just be in that silence, and I have to say that's what you do quite well too, because you let the audience come into your what would you call it, your persona, this character. Do you call it a character that you, or is it you?
I guess I find it harder to hide my nerves on stage, and so I'm getting better at it now. But I in that even that clip, I do like with my breath and stuff, make little noises. It's mostly just nerves. It's it's sort of this unconscious thing I do sometimes, and I guess I don't know. I'm worried this will sound too lame, but I'm okay being vulnerable on stage, and I hope that means that other people can feel like they can be vulnerable too. Even sharing opinions, which is something I've been scared to do, especially talking about inequality and race and sex, just because I haven't experienced any of, I grew up looking like this, so I haven't experienced that, and I think as long as you're coming from a place of love, then it is really important to share those, to have the discussion, because it's, you got to at least listen anyway, so we can make the world a better place.
Let's sing a song. We've got Brian from
I've actually wrote a song about how I think we can cure racism, if you don't mind. It goes for 7 minutes.
I've got mine too. Should I bring my ukulele out?
Great. Let's cure racism together.
So we've got Brian from Cincinnati saying woke. So, something we're saying is making sense, I hope.
Thank you. Unless it was a sarcastic woke. Yeah, like a funnel before he turns out. But thank you if it was real.
For anyone watching on LinkedIn and Facebook, thanks for joining. We're going to do Q&A very soon. So if you have a question for Luke about his comedy and how he applies his comedy and why he does comedy, please pop it into the comments. We're happy to answer them. And if you don't, that's fine. I'll keep asking him questions. But before we go...
Or economics. I got a degree. I'm happy to dust it off from 13 years ago, whatever it was I did it. So I'm really up to date. Because my audience is on LinkedIn and they're people in professional work positions who want to use comedy in their presentations or, in their meetings, what would be your tip for someone who wants to use comedy in their storytelling or in their work? I'd say that we've all at some point made our friends laugh with some story, with some anecdote, with something, or done something that's made our friends laugh. Like, I guess one of the key differences with comedians is they write it down. But if there's something that's worked over the dinner table, it'll probably work at work. The difference is usually the fact that you feel comfortable at dinner doing something, whereas when you go to do a joke at work, it feels like it's risky. It feels like it's there's stakes all of a sudden. But if you feel comfortable, then even if something doesn't work, it's fine. Like the audience, I always feel like people never lose control of an audience. They lose control, and then the audience feels like they don't have control anymore. And then, but you're always, you're the, I feel like just if you have the same relaxed, and it's hard to say, it's easier said than done, but if you can relax and sort of have the same sort of demeanor you have when you're talking to a friend, that things that work with them will work at work as well. In my experience anyway, back when I used to work in an office and tried to make people laugh. But yeah, just don't. It's okay to be fear. It's okay if something doesn't work. Basically, it's not the end of the world, and it's as long as you acknowledge it. As long as you acknowledge that it went badly, it's fine. The only time you can do something bad is when you say a bad joke and then go and just keep going. Just acknowledge it went terribly, and that's usually funny. So
Yes.
if your joke doesn't work, the bit afterwards will work.
Yes, that's it. And I think
I
that's
hope that's makes sense.
yeah, it does make sense. And I think as an assumption, like when people see, when you do your Oxfam or your gala, 5-minute, what do you call? I can't do comedy right now. What's a set? A 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. It's because we haven't done it in so long, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. People just think that you've just done it once and that's how you naturally do it, but you've probably have failed so many times writing that 5-minute set.
Oh yeah, I mean, just to write 5 minutes, you have to do a lot of bad stuff that gets scribbled out or rewritten. So it's most of the comedians' year is bombing for that show at the end of the year for the comedy festival where you do all the best stuff.
Yes.
But there's a lot of crap up in the lead up. So there'd definitely be people who've only seen me at certain gigs and think this guy's the worst comedian ever. I've got no idea why he's got a TV show. I mean, some people might think that anyway, but yeah, it's you gotta be prepared to bomb. Huh?
Yeah, prepare to bomb. That's the word. Daniel, he's been watching the show from the beginning. Daniel Gardner, he's asked, how did you and Celia cast Rosehaven so well?
With Chris McQuaid, who plays my mum, we actually chose Chris because she actually scared us in real life. And as soon as we realised that, we said it's got to be her because she's actually scary. And but there was like we're like I'm technically Chris's boss, but the dynamic between us off camera is that, for example, we were waiting to film for a season, and there was a berry bush near us, and Chris said, "You can eat those." And I said, "I think they're poisonous, Chris." And she goes, "They're not. You can eat them." And I go, "No, you can't." And she goes, "You can't eat them." And she held out a berry and she goes, "Eat it." You should call me a liar. And I'm like, "Oh." And so I ate it. And I go, and like 30 minutes later, I said, "I got a stomach ache." She goes, "No, you don't." And that was our life. It's like she just became my mum on set. And yeah, I just love working with her, and except around berries. Mrs. Marsh Nola was someone who was we just loved her. She's just like Nola in real life. She's really sharp, and she loves talking about politics, and she'll run circles around us. And Bruce, who's the bully in the show, we cast just because I really hated him in the audition. I'm like, no, don't cast him. I hate him. And we thought, you hate him because he did such a good job as a bully in the casting. And I'm like, yeah, he just reminded me of all my school bullies in one. And so we cast him as well. So it was usually some sort of thing that triggered a gut reaction in us that made us want to cast someone.
Great. We've got Joseph from Singapore saying in the house, John Paul Collins. Luke is great. I don't know if you know John Paul, but John Paul is actually a dancer, Dancing with the Stars, and one with Kate Sobrano.
Oh, they won, right? John Paul. That means John won. Congratulations.
Yes. He's actually my favorite trainer that I was telling you about.
That's awesome. Well, that's really cool. John, that's awesome. And Kate Sobrano was lovely. Warnie and Luke could have been the dream team. That's good. Warnie could get them out, and then I could lull them into a false sense of security. So they hit a few sixes, get a bit sloppy, and then Warnie gets them out with some actually decent bowling.
You know what's really funny? I started watching cricket in 1998 when I was 13 years old because my mum wouldn't let me go out at all during the school summer break. And this was the time when I was into boys. So what's the perfect place to watch men just standing around in white uniform and just watch them play cricket? So I just ended up watching cricket because I had this fascination with these men.
Was it any white uniform would turn you on? Was it like also people studying karate or sailors or
it was cricket. Like I was watching it during the Mark Taylor and Ian Healy. This is when they were transitioning, and the War Brothers haunting. Like I was so into cricket. I was insane because Asian Australian women aren't into cricket. It's the most boring sport to watch, but I was just fascinated that you could stand on a field for 8 hours, and it was just especially
just white guys getting sunburnt at the MCG. You know, it's
And the ball just in the pelvis.
you get the reg of the It's Are there any other sports where you rub the ball on your crotch or any of this? I'm pretty sure soccer goalies don't do it before they put the ball down, or basketballers don't do it before they take a shot.
No, no lawn bowlers. No.
Lawn bowlers, no. It's just cricket. It's just the beauty of cricket.
That's it. But yeah, I did go to a Bollywood wedding where my friend married a Test cricketer. Do you know your Test cricketers?
If it's from that era, yes. But if it's from the current era, no.
Nah, yeah, no, it's current era. Yeah, it's I don't. Yeah, same thing. I don't watch the current era for some reason. I've just turned off from it.
Either because those guys used to be celebrities. I remember lining up to get Glenn McGrath's autograph for ages, and Ricky Pontings, and then
Evan.
Yeah. Michael Bevan always used to hit a six. Like when we need you to hit this. We need you to hit this. We need you to 13 run in one ball, and he's like, sure. And it was just But then he never sort of broke into the Test team, which was weird.
No,
always the one day. So I know a lot about the era, and then I don't know why it trailed off.
Thanks for everyone for just listening to that boring talk about cricket. That was just me and Luke. I was just trying to impress him.
Sorry, we forgot we were recording. Huh?
Daniel's also asked another question. Have you gone back for a school union? Those bullies need their faces rubbed in your success. We love you, Luke. Such a fan.
Thank you. Daniel's a great question. I have been back to my reunion, but not enough people treated me like a celeb. Most people did not care. I hadn't seen Rosehaven. So I think I need another one. I think I need to win like an Oscar or something and then go back.
Yeah,
have another one, even if I just pay for everyone's flights and say, guys, I'll shout you. I just want to. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was weird though. Like, when we got there, everyone just went into the same groups at school, and then slowly, as people got more and more drunk, we all started to mingle again. But it was when we first got there, it was just everyone talking to the same people they talked to at school. It was weird. It was like everything that's happened in your life was gone, and you were the same person again. It was. But I did enjoy it because a couple of the bullies that were there I had nice chats with, and it was kind of therapeutic, I think. Like it made me replace some of my bad memories of schools with nice ones of meeting the bullies at the reunion and sharing a drink. Yeah, it was kind of. And then I kicked him in the nuts right at the last second, like just as I was leaving, as I lulled them into thinking it was cool friends, and that I'd forgiven him when in fact I was just waiting for the right time to strike.
Love it. And we had Emma just saying, yay, Yukov, would love with Yukov. Daniel, thanks for joining, Daniel. I was such a huge fan. You did a great job on the weekly, Luke.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. I appreciate that. I got to be honest. I'm actually typing these out. I'm Daniel. I've got a fake account. I'm typing this stuff out on my computer.
Well, fake account, Daniel has one more question for you. Luke, would you do I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
I don't think so, because as someone who's pretty anxious already, I don't know if I could, and I don't like touching stuff I can't see when I reach a hand into a box. I like to know what's in the box. And I'm not very good with eating gross things, and I'm terrible with water. I really fear water. So if I could lie to them and say I'm really scared of heights, and hope that they put me in high places, which is fine. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I'd find it fun. That said, if they threw stacks of money at me, sure. if they really made it rain, I'd be there tomorrow. Huh?
That's it. Just live day one. Just get yourself kicked out day one. You still get the money, and you still did the show. So
exactly. Like actually use some of that money to pay people to vote me off. My leaning towards no at this stage. Yeah. That's in a couple of years' time when I've got no work anymore. Yeah, I'll be in you'll see me in the jungle. You'll see me in all of them.
Yeah. Well, John Paul's come in and said, "How about Dancing with the Stars?"
Yeah, that I'd think about it just because it'd be fun to learn that skill. Like it'd just be fun to learn how to dance. So yes, I probably would do Dancing with the Stars. Although I'd be a little bit nervous about the skin tight costumes. I probably want to work on my build a bit more. I'm guessing John's got a really good body.
He does have a good
So
body.
So I'd want to get. I might have to do a few Skype calls with John so he can get me in shape before I do it.
Yeah. Well, Celia. Well, I was talking to Celia last week, and we were talking about Dancing with the Stars, and I said to her, like, if you I would love to be on Dancing with the Stars because I dance on LinkedIn.
Oh, right.
So I post of myself dancing on LinkedIn. So I'm known as Dancing Diana on LinkedIn.
So if you weren't allowed on Dancing, let's say you're not allowed on Dancing with the Stars or I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, which reality show would you go on if you had to?
It would be there's 3 shows: Survivor.
Yeah, Survivor. Okay.
Amazing Race.
Oh, you're a great one. Yeah.
Or The Bachelorette.
Nice. That's just a fun way to get people to come to you. You don't have to go on the apps. You just get a bunch of producers to organise it.
Oh God, yeah.
Do you reckon the hardest bit would be at the start when you're standing there waiting and all the guys come in to say hi? Would that be the trickiest bit, do you reckon?
Well, they say that takes 6 hours.
6 hours you have to stand there. Oh my God.
That whole night that you watch is like until 4, 5 a.m. Like that roast.
Imagine being the guy at 5 a.m. is coming, well, time to work my moves on Diana at 5 a.m. and you're just like, whatever. And how brutal it must be for some of those people that, there's guys in there and they just you don't see them. They never have any cutaways to them or, brutal.
You could you could end up actually doing stand-up while standing and waiting for these women to come up to you. Like it'd be a long night.
Have you ever thought about just bringing roses to dates?
Oh, that would be funny. God, you're good at this. Yeah, that's a good one.
Hand them out. Yeah. Just give them to someone. I had a date that went so badly once that when they went to the bathroom, I turned the table around 180 degrees. So I moved everything 180 degrees just to try to reset the date.
Oh, wow.
And then she sat down and she never mentioned it. She never mentioned that the table had turned around. I don't know if she didn't notice or she just thought she was going crazy. And then I left it so long. I felt weird bringing it up. And still to this day, I don't know if she noticed.
Well, I do a quick date. I had a date earlier this year where I knew in the first 5 minutes that it wasn't going to work out. So I said, I'll go to the toilet. And I went past the bar and said, actually cancel the chips. Like don't bring out the chips. We're going to end this date really quickly. And then came out and sat down with him. And then they had forgotten about the chips. So they came up and I just went, and then, so that actually wasn't.
I'd love it if it'd just be your luck because they go and the chefs put on an extra special chips as well. It's just like you got and here's some gobstoppers. They see you have to suck on them. They take forever.
That's it. Take you forever. We've got.
How did you know? Oh, sorry. I was just going to say how did you know within 5 minutes it was a no-go? Did they do something? Was it one single thing, or did you just pick it straight away?
For me, it's communication's really important. I'm a really quick communicator because I'm also an improviser. So that's a bit of I'm a quick thinker. So judge me, but I just didn't feel that there was a flow. Yes, and in a future relationship that I would like to build on, I would like there's this like really nice flow and bouncy and just popping. That's the relationship that I dream of. Where in my 60s and 80s, I'm still buoyant with this person as well. So
yeah,
I'm probably thinking way too far ahead and could have given him a second and third date, but I'm just cutting. I'm just like out.
It's fine. You got your. I'll wait until I hear his side of the story. But if you're not happy, get out of there.
One more question, and thank you so much for being so generous with your time, Luke. Emma has. What sort of stuff has Luke been writing? More TV show ideas or just focusing on Rosehaven?
We are writing a 5th season of Rosehaven. We just don't know when it'll actually be able to be made because there's a bit of a pandemic going on right now. My dream has always been to get a movie up and made. So I'm sort of dabbling in that occasionally, and I am writing another doco that's not about sex this time, but it's all on the back burner at the moment because we just don't know when we'll be able to film again. But Rosehaven sort of keeps ticking along, so we're writing that, assuming everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Hear you. Well, it's day by day, really. We've got to take it day by day.
Yes, which is a quote from South Park, I believe, Cartman, when he's riding the tricycle and he's being a policeman, and he goes, day by day.
Oh, good times. Yes, South Park. John Paul said, it could be a show called Tasmanian Wants a Wife. That could be a new show.
That's true. I should pitch that. As soon as we're allowed back in Tassie, I can't even get in there at the moment. They've locked me out. But as soon as they lift that border, Tassie wants a wife.
Tassie wants a wife.
No, Tasmania wants a wife. Yes, I will. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Luke, that's it. That's the show. Thanks for joining
Thank you for
us.
having me. Make sure you edit out any bits where I sounded dumb. But no, thank you for having me. It's really nice. It's lovely to answer questions live. It's does that mean you're getting bad comments as well, but you just don't read them out? Does that mean are you getting all comments and you're only seeing some? Because when I used to do Triple J briefly, you'd see all the bad ones. You just be like, your voice makes me want to rip my ears off and stuff like that. So you'd see all the bad bits as well. It was quite a roller coaster.
No, my community. Well, it's on LinkedIn, so they're all professionals.
True. Yeah. Well, I will. What do you call it? I will vouch for every single one of you. What do you do on LinkedIn? You commend? No, you click something.
Comment.
So you can. No, you can on people's profiles. They'll have like
connection
counting, and you and you can plug people. So you can say I vouch for this person's ability to be an accountant or something. Recommendation.
Yes.
Yep.
That's it. Well, do you know how many followers you have on LinkedIn? Of connection. Oh, okay.
No, I never go on LinkedIn. I just keep it there in case someone doesn't make a fake account.
Anyway, yeah, you can come onto my LinkedIn and give me a recommendation. I welcome it. Thanks for everyone for
One other thing. I don't know if it's the same photo, but if my LinkedIn photo, if you zoom out, I'm standing next to a large bin. I don't know if, but I think I might have changed that photo now.
Actually, I can actually find out if you want. You're
the bin's been cut out. I since cut the bin out, but there was originally a large wheelie bin next to me.
There you go.
Not an interesting fact to finish on. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for joining the Snortcast. Thank you to our fans on LinkedIn and Facebook for joining the Snortcast every week, interviewing funny people all around the world. Luke, we got there. We got you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience, and I'm very sorry again for being late. It was lovely talking to you.
It's lovely talking to you. And thanks for joining, everyone. And remember, we've got a show next week as well. We'll see you all then. And before I go,
but just to warn you all, it'll be me again. So if you and I'll be saying the same thing. I'll be answering the questions with the same answers.
That's it. Luke, if you can just stay for a minute, and we'll see you all next week, guys. Bye.